Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies, and the stock market had a nice little bounce today with the announcement that Russia is pulling troops out of Ukraine. And we had President Biden come out this afternoon at 3:30 Eastern time and give a little talk. And he said that intelligence has not confirmed that Russia is withdrawing any troops. And we saw the markets pull back a little bit. But in any event, the markets did rally into the close, which is always a good sign. The Dow jumped 400 points and finished the day up about 1.2%. The S&P finished the day up 1.58. NASDAQ finished the day up 2.5 points. Tech was making a little bit of a comeback, but the NASDAQ has taken the biggest hit here in the recent sell-off, and so have some of the glory tech stocks. The FANG stocks have taken a real beating. ARC, MicroStrategy, and all of the tech sector has taken a big hit. And all eyes still remain on the potential conflict with Russia and Ukraine. And markets did bounce a little bit on the news that Russia was pulling troops out, but until that's confirmed and the situation has been completely de-escalated and Russia completely pulls back, markets are going to still be on pins and needles, and they're going to be very sensitive to any moves or any strong language from either side. So we have to continue to watch that. We don't have any news out of the Fed yet in terms of what they decided to do or didn't decide to do in yesterday's emergency meeting. So we're still awaiting some sort of a response or direction from the Fed in terms of what they're going to do. Markets are sensitive right now, very delicate time. So you have to be keeping an eye on the macro, because as you can see, markets are moving. Bitcoin, cryptocurrency are in lockstep with the markets, and they are moving on any kind of news, just like the stock markets are. So this is Bitcoin on the hourly here. And as you can see, Bitcoin had a nice little pop with the news, just like the stock market did of Ukraine, up to, it was about a 6.97% jump on the news, but it's pulled back a little bit here, and it's kind of ranging right now, awaiting the next move. And we'll have to see what that move looks like and what the setup looks like. Let's take a look at Bitcoin on the daily. And we are on higher low watch. And right now we put in a higher low yesterday. So we have a lower high, we have a higher low. This was our low of this range that we're in right now. This is the low here, which is higher than our recent macro low of this range that we're in overall from the first pullback back in April, May of 2021. We set the low at 30,000. We have a higher low here. We had the higher high. Now we've got a lower high and a lower low. So we're going to see what this looks like. And again, we're still watching for that retracement. And the interesting thing is I pulled this fractal yesterday, and I've been kind of looking at this today as well. So let's pull this, not that one there. It is, sorry, let me remove that. The one that I am looking at is actually right here. So let's pull this little fractal here that we were looking at yesterday. And let's pull this over here, which looks really interesting right now when you set it right in here on this price action and kind of look at what we're looking at with that fractal in terms of the retracement we've been talking about. It's kind of uncanny. A lot of times these patterns have a tendency to repeat. So I just pulled, and we've been talking about this little pullback here, kind of matching up with the little pullback we had over here the last few days off of this bottom into the retracement there into the all-time high. And the other thing that's interesting about this fractal is if you take the Fibonacci, like we've been talking about, from range high wick to range low wick, that touches the 618 Fibonacci retracement. So kind of interesting how this whole fractal here is matching up bar for bar right here, right now on this side of the equation in this retracement here, and hitting into that 618 level that we're looking for, where Bitcoin likes to retrace between that 0.5 to the 618, which is 50% of the price to 61.8% of the price of the range here that we're in. And if Bitcoin pulls into the 702, which sometimes it likes to do, it could pull all the way up to there, which would put it at about 58,000. But this is 55,000 to 618, somewhere in the 50,000 range to the 55,000 range is what we're looking for a retracement before it rolls over into more of a longer consolidation and potentially retesting these lows that we are looking at in this cycle right here that we're in this range that we've been in here since really going into last year, where we had a little bit of turbulence at the 29-30,000 back in January of 2021, February 2021, and reached a high of 41,000, pulled back down to that 29,000 before going to all-time highs. Interesting that here we are a year later, January, February, pulled down to a wick of 33, bounced back up to the 45,000 range, pulling back now to see if we're going to do that retracement into a longer consolidation range. Cryptocurrency, if you look at the total two, which is all of the altcoins, including Ethereum, but not Bitcoin, kind of doing the same thing, where it's in that retracement potential and looking for the altcoins to kind of run as Bitcoin rolls into that retracement somewhere along in that range. And, you know, over the next 30 days is kind of what we're thinking and what I'm looking at. But of course, the geopolitical climate and the Fed decision is going to have a big impact on that. As you've seen, these markets are easily spooked. And if you look at some of the altcoins, some of the top ones we've been following, Solana is in that area here where there's not a lot of support right now below where it's at. The next stop is going to be in that $65 to $80 range. And you can see with the altcoins, a lot of them have this kind of chart. And oddly enough, so do a lot of stocks. If you go look at, I was talking to somebody about MicroStrategy today. So let's take a look at MicroStrategy, which looks, this chart looks a lot like the Bitcoin chart. And with a lot of these tech stocks, a lot of them have this parabolic blow off top into that November timeframe. This is February 2021, where MicroStrategy, I think, entered into the Bitcoin race. But then right here in November is when the market peaked. And a lot of your tech stocks, if you go look at, let's take a look at Facebook, see what that looks like. If you look at the Facebook stock, same thing. November is when Facebook, that's September, October, November right here, started in September, right here in November, and December took its big decline down, but, you know, straight up parabolic. So a lot of the tech stocks kind of look exactly like this. They've all just been straight uphill and then started pairing off in September. And then of course that November, December timeframe dropping down. So it's really interesting how the, a lot of these altcoins and a lot of the stocks in the tech sector kind of, you know, start looking the same. Let's take Amazon, see what Amazon looks like on the NASDAQ. If you look at the Amazon chart, same thing, kind of straight up. Amazon's kind of fighting a little bit up here at the top of this range and looks like it may be sunsetting a little bit. Again, there's that November, December timeframe where Amazon's dropped off. And let's take a look at Netflix, see what we have on Netflix. Netflix, same kind of thing going on. Parabolic move up to that November, December timeframe, straight down. So the entire tech sector, and we've got the NASDAQ right here, obviously, which is representative of the whole space, the whole tech space, kind of doing the same thing, parabolic since March of 2020. And if we look at Bitcoin, same kind of thing, but more of a range here. So it'll be interesting to see how this settles out and where we end up going. And with altcoins, with Bitcoin, in the cryptocurrency market, anything can and will happen right now. As we've seen with Bitcoin in this area here, things can happen and change very fast. And in either direction, Bitcoin can pop straight up or it can pop straight down in any direction pretty quickly. But again, what we're looking at is that potential retracement to come back down and test these lows again before we get any kind of clear direction. So I do not see us testing any of these previous all-time highs anytime soon. I think if we get up to that 618 retracement level, 0.5 to 618 here in the next few weeks and kind of roll over and test the bottom, then we'll see where we go from there. And a lot of that's going to depend on where we're at in the geopolitical climate, where we're at with Fed policy and things like that. So these are the things that I'm looking at right now. And I will keep you updated and posted as events evolve, climate changes, Fed policy decisions come out, and the potential for conflict around the world evolves and devolves.